Well, good afternoon, everybody from Medellin, Colombia, where this will be our last show, at least from this country, for today. For now, the seventh continent will be up to.
I can't. Ash, I'm having trouble hearing you. Hold on, buddy.
Not sure why. I can hear you. So
you can hear me or no?
I can. 100%. So Seth came and Sean Palmer here. Seth and Sean Sports. Here on. We're not on Blog Talk anymore, from StreamYard. StreamYard here. I'm hoping that you can hear me. Can you hear me now? Hope so.
No, you're kind of quiet. I can kind of hear you, but
not really sure why. But anyway, so I will talk at a louder volume, I guess. So Seth normally says there's a lot to talk about. Well, this week there is a lot. So first, let's talk about our Final Four, and we'll spend a good amount of time on that. The Commanders beat the Lions. Ergo, the Lions then lose their two top coordinators. And now Philly hosts an NFC title game in what could be one of the colder days of the year. And then in the AFC, well, we have Josh Allen and Pat Mahomes, number 4. And there's nothing more that you could say other than, is this the year that Josh Allen, now I can't hear you at all. You just went on mute. You went on mute. I'm going to turn you off mute. I can't turn you off mute. I can't turn you off mute because you're on mute. So hopefully he turned himself off. Yeah, he turned himself off.
Any better?
Yeah, now I can hear you. Excellent. Okay.
Yeah, but I still can't hear you.
I don't know why. I will go off.
So I think what he was talking about was the AFC and NFC title games, where unless you live in Buffalo, in Washington, D.C., Philly, or Kansas City, I think the entire country is rooting for Buffalo.
Yeah, that's about right. You still can't hear
my
me.
Disbeliever over here, who thought there was a chance they would lose to Denver, thought they had no chance against Baltimore. And, well, he was wrong on both. Now, to be fair, Baltimore was dead even. Tough breaks for Mark Andrews. The pass wasn't great on the 2-point conversion, but he should have had it. And the fumble, which he hasn't fumbled, I don't think, since 2019, was certainly not a statistical game for the ages. But Lamar Jackson has to be gutted on this one. I mean, there's just that team with the talent they have. And look, they should mostly be back next year. Baltimore will be a definitive threat. Buffalo has you look at Buffalo, there's no positional play that feels better than what Kansas City has, other than maybe James Cook.
No, they're wideouts. I can't
hear you, dude. I don't know what to tell you.
My mic's working, so not sure. I checked it out. My mic is, I'll do it again. Testing the mic. Yep, the mic's working.
Let me try going out and coming back in.
All right, we'll try that. So Seth's gonna go away for a little bit, and Seth is the technological not genius of this pair. I had checked the mic, so I know it works. But anyway, there is a point in which I think his speakers aren't working, but I guess we'll figure that part out in a second. You might want to just start the computer. But I think it's a matter of, truth be told, that Buffalo going into Kansas City, and the weather in Kansas City right now, just Kansas City weather, what do you think? All right, let's see if you can hear me. If you can't hear me, then it is your speakers, and I suggest you restart your computer. Restart your computer.
I'll reboot and try one more time.
Yeah, there you go. Restart computer. Okay. Anyway, so he's going to restart. Okay. Restart the computer. So I'm going to boot him out of here. Should I ban him from the studio or just kick him out of the studio? Kick him out of the studio. Kick out the guest. All right. First, I would love to see if I'm still working, but I believe I am because I checked the settings before. So yep, my settings are working. Anyway, so I think, truth be told, that the wide receiver core for, oh, by the way, Mark Andrews just posted on Instagram here, I refuse to let the situation deflate me. Well, you know what? That's true, Mark. You are one of the top tight ends in the league, so you should not have that deflate you. What will be interesting is that Isaiah Likely played an amazing role this year, and also with the fact that I believe when you look at Spotrac and the Ravens, I think most of their offensive line, unfortunately, is free agents, except for Lindenbaum. So Ronnie Staley, who was making $8 million, has a voidable contract. Let's keep going down. Your right tackle, Danny Facile, I believe this is a restricted free agent. So that's no bueno. Isaiah Likely is a restricted free agent, I believe. Purple in this. I love looking at Spotrac when I don't know what the colors mean. So we're going to go down. I still don't know what the colors mean. I think that means restricted free agent is purple. Yeah. So Danny Faleo, who is their right tackle, restricted free agent. Isaiah Likely, tight end, restricted free agent. If you look at their offensive line, Faleo and Staley, Lindenbaum has one more year on that contract. He's in a rookie deal. They have Corey Bullock, their backup center, is a restricted free agent, but exclusive restricted free agent. Darian Dalacourt, also an exclusive restricted free agent. So you have 4 free agents on the line, including your best player on the line in your left tackle, Ronnie Staley, and you have to extend Tyler Lindenbaum. Now, granted, I believe the franchise tag, you still have one more year, but the franchise tag for centers last year was one of the smaller ones. Looking at this, excuse me, I have the hiccups today. The center position, offensive line, was $20 million. They do not separate it out amongst centers. So you have Staley, if they want to tag him, it's $20 million. Wow, I thought they had absolutely broken out the tackles, but it seems like they have not broken out the tackles versus the guards, which seems a little weird. Nope, it's just offensive linemen. All right, let's see if Seth's back. Seth, are you back?
I am back. It's a little better, but not great.
Yeah, but now I can't even see you. There you go. Okay. So anyway,
maybe I'll try doing it on Zoom. I'll try calling in.
Well, you got to use your phone. Use your phone like you did last week.
Yeah.
I think it's your computer. Okay. So Seth's back out. We're booting him. Bye-bye. Booting him from the stage. So the point is, you have Staley, who may be $20 million. Their cap numbers, looking at what they have for 2025 right now at $200 million, with the cap maximum is 275. So they have an active cap of 259, and obviously there's restructuring, right? They only have $8 million in dead cap. That's astonishing for 1 year. That's astonishing because if you look at other teams, certainly the Denver Broncos, who have a huge amount of dead cap, even going into next year. I mean, let's look at that for that team. Denver going into next year. Now, granted, they had Russell Wilson, so they split that out. So remember, $8 million for the Ravens, dead cap for 2025 is $33 million. $23 million debt, $33 million for a dead cap for Russell Wilson. Remember, the Ravens only have 8. So they have some room to move with regards to that. But at the end of the day, they have they will not have the same team. And what was interesting was Marlon Humphreys, who is their star cornerback. He was real. It was really strange. What he said was that this team is basically done. This is the team. So I was a little taken aback by that. If you're looking at going into next year, going into this offseason with the Final Four, I mean, I really want Buffalo to win. I am strained to think that they will in Arrowhead. It's just a hard place to play. I think it's more likely, believe it or not, that the Commanders beat the Eagles than the Bills beat the Chiefs. And then we're right back to where we started. And that in its own right is a problem for me. But whatever. I am happy that the Commanders are winning. I am happy that Jaden Daniels has proven to be what he is, and that is a superstar quarterback. And I only wish at some point soon, that the Jets get a quarterback of that ilk. Excuse me. So what have the Jets done? Seth is saying, let me in, yet he's not here. I will refresh the studio to see why Seth is not coming in. I'm going to try and send Seth another invite, and hopefully this works. See if he pops on again. It'd be nice if he did. Let's see where he's going. There he is. All right, he's back. Look at that.
Yeah, now I can hear you fine.
All right. So, by the way, the Ravens have Ronnie Staley as a left tackle as a free agent. They also have their swing tackle as a free agent. And they also have 2 exclusive free agents on their line. So, while they may be back as a wholesome group with Mark Andrews and Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, their line is an absolute mess. And sorry, go ahead.
Do you ever? Is there a team you have more confidence in that can rebuild quickly on certain things than Baltimore?
No, that's true. Good point. Good point. Very good point. Okay. So now that we've dilly-dallied for 15 minutes, what are your predictions for this week's games?
I don't know if I'm going with my heart or my I'm going with Buffalo. And apparently Sean just dropped. I'm going with Buffalo because Kansas City at no point this season has been overly impressive. Yes, I know they're 15-2. Yes, I know they have the best quarterback in the world and the best playoff tight end of all time. And their defense has been better and better to a point where Spagnuolo probably deserves to interview for a couple jobs. And I can't think of a reason why I should take Buffalo. But I have trouble seeing this Kansas City team winning 3 Super Bowls in a row, where they really have not been impressive most of this year. And call it a gut, call it hope, I don't know. I'm going with Kansas City on one end, I'm going with Philly on the other. Obviously, with Buffalo on one end and Philly on the other. I cannot imagine Washington, led by a rookie quarterback, going into Philly in January and winning this game in this weather. And then you'll have possibly the only coach in NFL history who could make the Super Bowl or even win the Super Bowl and still get fired after the season in Sirianni. But I'll go with I'll go with Buffalo, Philly.
All right, and I went with Washington. I think Washington goes in there, and I again, I'm wondering whether I'm thinking more with my brain than my heart, or my heart with my brain. I can't see Buffalo going into Arrowhead and winning that game. But then again, I have picked against them throughout the entire season. I do believe there is one position group, by the way, that they are better than the Chiefs. And that's not saying much, but I believe that their wide receiver group is better than the Chiefs. I think Shakir has actually become the number one, and he has played phenomenally. And yeah, I think their wide receiver group is better, even with DeAndre Hopkins. I think their receiver group is better.
Well, I can make you can make the argument. I mean, the problem is, as you said, Kansas City's number one. Rasheed Rice has been out for most of the year. Marquise Brown hasn't played the whole year. Buffalo has a lot of supporting pieces in that end. Shakir, Cooper, the two tight ends, Knox and Kincaid. Mac Hollins, who just feels like that tough guy who always just can just kind of go into any situation and pull off a couple things. I'll stick. We'll see what happens. They should. Hopefully, they're good. I mean, these were fun games. I mean, you're in God knows where at this point.
No, I'll be home for both of those games. I'll be home on Saturdays.
No, I know.
Yeah. But for all you people that are freezing your asses off, at least you'll have something to do on Sunday.
Yep.
So that's fair. Okay. So we have some coaching vacancies that have been filled. So
JETS.
All right. So hold on. So first, Ben Johnson going to Chicago is an A+ hire, right?
Yeah, I also think for him it's the no-brain hire. Like, I don't know why anyone who's never been a head coach would believe that they can bring in their own GM. That's ludicrous. And he went to the team with the best quarterback situation.
Is this a better situation than Washington last year? Knowing that you had the number 2 pick.
No, because that division is so good.
So he overplayed his hand last year. That's basically what it comes down to, right? Because he had the Washington job if he wanted it. He just chose not to do it.
Yeah. Well, look, he wanted to run it back to see if this team could make the Super Bowl. That was the impression that I had. And they were right there. I mean, they went 15-2. So you just played, your defense fell apart, and Jared Goff had his worst game of the year against a team that just played offensively out of their minds.
Yeah. I mean, that's basically what it was.
Yeah. We talked about this when you were in Marrakesh or wherever the hell you were last week.
Yeah.
Like, I
was here last week. I was still in Colombia last week.
Oh, okay, sorry. It's hard to keep up with where in the world is Sean Palmer. So I said, look, I thought Washington would be able to score 30 points off of Detroit's defense because Detroit's defense is absolutely decimated. I just thought Detroit would be able to score 40 off of Washington's. And, they made a couple bad – Goff made one really bad pass.
Well, Goff made one bad pass. They got too cute with Jameson Williams. I mean, right? I mean, you can make the case that they just got too cute after a while. It's just, I mean, this team all year was run. And in the playoffs, they chose not to run. and they chose to pass.
Yeah.
And I get it, but I'm kind of like, if Montgomery and Gibbs got you there, why don't you continue that?
Remember that the Montgomery was still coming off injury, so we don't know how we don't know how healthy he was. I know he played, but we don't really know how healthy he was.
I get that. Okay. But if you're running back, Jahmyr Gibbs, right? So last week he ran for 105 yards and 2 touchdowns. The week before, 139. The week before, 117. The week before, 109. All without Montgomery, right? 4 weeks without Montgomery. Last week, he ran the ball 14 times. Now, he ran the ball 14 times for 105 yards. You would think if that is working, you would continue doing that.
Don't disagree.
That's what I need to understand.
I disagree.
I didn't understand Dan Campbell's play calling, but we're going back. All right. So Ben Johnson, you give it an A. Okay.
Yeah.
Mike Vrabel, absolutely an A. 100%. There was nobody better for that job than Mike Vrabel. Nobody.
Yeah. And they're bringing the band back together.
Right.
You got Josh McDaniels in his 87th run through with New England as his offensive coordinator. I think we can safely say he'll never get another job after this, so he better hold on to this one for a while.
And he won't be the coach in waiting for Mike Vrabel.
No, he will not.
Okay. So I'm going to ask you. So I have my own opinions of the Aaron Glenn signing. What are yours? Well, first of all, you've listened. You're in New Jersey. What are the views?
I'll be honest. This only kind of really came to fruition yesterday. So I don't, how much I listen to New York sports radio.
Sure.
I think my feeling is I wish you had the offensive version of him.
Yes. I wish I had Ben Johnson.
Right. Look, he was a star player for the Jets. He's been a scout. He's been an assistant coach. He's been very good at everything he's done. I don't disagree that he warrants the opportunity to be a head coach. But you've gone from defensive coach, as you said. Prior to that was Todd Bowles?
Yep.
Defensive coach.
We've just had defensive coaches.
Prior to that, Rex Ryan, defensive coach. I can't, this is an offensive league. That is my concern.
So the last offensive coach that the Jets had was Adam Gase.
I've actually forgotten about that, to be honest.
And hold on, it's even worse. So Glenn's a defensive coach. Ulbrich was a defensive coach. Soleil was a defensive coach. Gase was offense. Bowles was defense. Ryan was defense. Mangini was defense. Edwards was defense. Groh was defense. Parcells was defense. And then the last one. No.
Rich Kotite.
There were 2 before that. Kotite and Bruce Coslett.
Oh, God.
So the Jets, since 1983, have had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 coaches, okay, in 22 years. No, that's bad math. 14 coaches in 42 years, in 42 years. And 10 of them have been defense. And 4 of them have been offense. So what does this mean? Who is Aaron Glenn's offensive coordinator? So what basically comes down to.
Have the names started popping up yet? I haven't looked. I've been
Josh McCown.
Okay.
Which means guess who's coming? Sam Darnold. Awesome. Let's do that again. Please, let's do that again. Because that's what I want to see. Number 14 back in green. My God, no. He has been rumored. There were rumors of Bobby Slowick, maybe. But I'm like, why would he leave the Texans?
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. Um, I don't understand it, but that was a rumor. There were numerous rumors of all these people, and none of them say, "Yay, I want that guy." Like, that's the problem with the Jets. They never get a "Yay, I want that guy," except in the draft. And then when they get that guy, 3 years later, he's gone. So I don't know. Yay, I wanted Garrett Wilson, and we'll see if he demands a trade. Yay. Okay. We have a couple more coaching vacancies that are coming up. We know that the Raiders have a vacancy, right? Kevin O'Connell is now off the market, signing an extension in Minnesota, right? I'm not sure who the Raiders are looking at, although there was a rumor. It was in Pro Football Talk last night with Pete Carroll going to the Raiders. Yep.
Interesting.
Yep. Do we have any other jobs, or is that the only job that's still
No,
open?
we got Dallas.
Oh, Dallas, right. No, Brian Schottenheimer supposedly will be hired today.
You're kidding.
No, the former Jets offensive coordinator, Brian Schottenheimer.
I don't buy it. I don't. I can see Kellen Moore. I don't buy it. What has Brian Schottenheimer ever done to warrant it?
He was the Rams offensive coordinator, I believe, at one point. By the way, 1 year later, Rex Ryan could end up. Rumor is that the Cowboys are looking for Rex Ryan.
Awesome.
So Brian Schottenheimer as coach, and he was the offensive coordinator under Rex Ryan. So now Rex Ryan would be the defensive coordinator under Brian Schottenheimer.
Well, that I mean, look, I don't know. I mean, no, you saw the Jets.
Al Golden is back.
Yeah, he's the Cincinnati defensive coordinator. That makes sense. I mean, that kind of makes sense. He was there before, and he did a wonderful job with Notre Dame. And look, they put up a nice effort against Ohio State.
Okay, so should we talk about that for a second? Because
let's continue with this, and then we'll go to that, and then we'll go to the Baseball Hall of Fame.
All right. Jimmy Butler's just going to be disappearing like he does every other time, which was
why should we? He doesn't want to play. Why he doesn't want to do anything? Why should we give him any airtime?
Okay, so we have Dallas is in play, but I really do believe it'll be Schottenheimer and Rex Ryan.
Because they want a guy that Jimmy Johnson can overwhelm.
You mean Jerry Jones?
Yes, sorry about that.
Jimmy Johnson's on a boat somewhere in Miami.
He's wasting away again in Margaritaville.
Earning his 12%. I don't remember what movie that's from, but it's I'm wasting away in an island earning 12%. I believe it's Con Air, actually.
Never saw it.
Oh, you should see that movie. That was really good. Okay, anyway. All right. Let's move on. Okay, let's move to this national championship.
Well, what about Jacksonville?
Oh, who finally fired Trent Baalke?
Yeah, it only took till after Liam Cohen refused to interview for a second time. By the way, and how are the Saints interviewing Mike Kafka for head coaching position? Explain to me how you would want a guy who was the offensive coordinator for a team that was 3-14, where they didn't even let him call the plays. Who you want as the head coach? That's wild to me.
Yeah, well, I mean, maybe Antonio Pierce will resurface
in Jacksonville or in New Orleans. Sorry,
New Orleans is an interesting team because their team stinks,
and they're in cap hell.
They're in cap hell. They've kicked the can down the road so many times. Like, I was just talking about the amount of dead cap for the Ravens, who only have $8 million in dead cap, which is amazing. And again, Eric DaCosta, welcome, right? And then you can also say and then you look at the Broncos with Russell Wilson, they have $32 million. That's as of today. The dead cap for New Orleans,
65.
hold on. I had this up a second ago. Is in the overview? Maybe in the overview. Yep, dead money. That's for 2025. I guess that's for this coming year. They have 56 million dollars in dead cap.
They said 60. Good guess on my part.
Yeah, 7 for Winston, 31 for Marshawn Lattimore, and 9 for Michael Thomas. So they traded Lattimore to the Commanders and took on a $31 million cap hit.
That is painful.
They have minus $50 million in cap space for next year.
Sean, can you give me? I need pause me for 2 minutes.
Yep. So they are no bueno, just absolutely no bueno, and I don't know why that team. I don't know who wants that job. I mean, rumors right now. I mean, just looking this up, New Orleans Saints coaching search, right? Let's just look at that. All right. So according to ESPN, the 7 candidates: Darren Rizzi, who we just talked about, 3 and 5; Anthony Weaver, who's the defensive coordinator of the Dolphins; Joe Brady, the offensive coordinator of the Bills, who has lucked into, I think he's the luckiest guy in the world. I don't think he's a great coach. I think he's the luckiest guy in the world. Mike Kafka, who we just talked about; Kellen Moore, and they've requested interviews from Mike McCarthy, Cliff Kingsbury. I think the only person for that team is Mike McCarthy, because that team is going to be so bad. So, I mean, even if you just look at what they have going forward for multi-year, I mean, Derek Carr has a $51 million cap hit next year. 51. Taysom Hill has a 17, and then there's a unrestricted free agent. Eric McCoy is 15. Ryan Remzak, who might retire, has 12. Cesar Ruiz. Now, they have 3 of their top 5 cap hits are on the offensive line. 1 center, 1 right tackle, 1 guard. Kamara re-signed. He's a $10 million cap hit. Juwan Johnson is the tight end who has a voided year. And they have no talent. So I try and look at this and say, if you are New Orleans, why do you want that job at all? I said the only guy that you want that job is McCarthy, because it doesn't matter. The other guys are going to be on their way. The other guys are ascending, right? And you look at this and you take that job. That job is a no-win situation, not only for next year, but for the next 3 years. I just don't see it as a no. Like you said, Kafka, Darren Rizzi, I'm like, no, it's Mike McCarthy or bust if I'm them. And Cliff Kingsbury should not even step foot in that job. Not even close.
No.
He might as well just stay in Washington and be the offense. By the way, I pointed out that I believe Joe Brady is the luckiest coach of all time. So he gets the job in Carolina based on his offensive coordinatorship in LSU, where he had – who did he have at LSU?
Well, his quarterback was Joe Burrow.
Who were his wideouts?
His wide receivers, I believe, were Jefferson and Chase.
Yeah, exactly. Then he goes to Carolina and does nothing, right? He does nothing. And he gets fired by Carolina and goes to Buffalo, where he is the best quarterback outside of Lamar Jackson. And that offense still has done nothing outside of Josh Allen. And now he's getting interviews to be a head coach. And I believe he's 35. Yeah, he's 35. He's 35 years old.
And what were you doing in your life when you were 35?
Non-NFL coach. The Bills had the number 2 scoring offense this year, averaging 29.5 points a game. That's absolutely absurd, but correct, because Josh Allen is getting 52 fantasy points a game. So if he gets 52 a game, then remember the last 3 games, he averaged like 45 a game.
Yes, I remember.
Right? I mean, you lost a game based on this. So, I mean, come on. All right. Let's talk about the NCAA championship game. So I did not watch a lot of it, okay? But the effects of that game are going to ring true for the next 10 to 15 years. It's if you spend money, you will buy championships. Right?
Yes.
I mean, it's as simple as that. They had the $20 million team. They lost to Michigan. And truthfully, nobody gives a shit. Except if you're a Michigan fan. Because then it's saying, oh, we beat the national champion. Great. Okay, you just went off. You just turned off your camera. You literally put your finger in front and turned off your camera. Can you turn back on your camera, please?
I'm back.
This is hysterical.
Yeah.
We all saw his finger.
I'll be
There
back
it
in a
is.
second.
His big finger turning off the camera. Anyway, we don't know what.
Hey, baby, no talking about my big finger.
Okay, so Riley, and even more so, both of those quarterbacks were seniors, right? Transfer seniors. So they're not coming back either.
No.
So
Ohio State has so many five-star quarterbacks. They just got, actually there was a third string one who just transferred to Cal. Notre Dame has said that they are not going after transfer this year. They have 1 or 2 quarterbacks in there that they want to see how that plays out.
got it.
I mean, Ohio State is, we said all along, Ohio State's the most talented team in the country. And I told you when we looked at this 6 weeks ago or 5 weeks ago that I thought the winner of Ohio State-Oregon would win the national title. I just didn't think Ohio State would beat Oregon that badly. They were the most talented team, and they did enough to get there. And once they were in, it ran. You know, they ran through everybody. Like they gave Texas gave them a good run, and then the sack by Sawyer on Ewers ended it. And Notre Dame deserves credit for cutting the lead to 8 points with 2 minutes to go. And look, ballsy call by Chip Kelly. Words I never thought I would use again, to be perfectly honest. But 3rd and 14, one-on-one coverage on the best wide receiver in the country. They did a 59-yard pass. That was it. And onto college basketball season.
Yeah.
I mean, the playoffs fun. They'll do some tweaks, but it's fun.
Did the 12 teams was a success? Yes?
Yes.
100%, right? 100% success. Does it need to be 16?
No. Doesn't need to be 12. But it was still a success at 12.
Well, 16 gets rid of the buys.
Yeah, but this is not basketball. You can't
I'm just throwing it out there. So the complaint is about the buys, right? So you can eliminate that very simply. Add 4 more teams, you get rid of the buys. Everybody plays the same amount of games. And then you get, Seth, what you asked for indirectly, which is saying that the conference winners get home games, right?
Yeah.
So the 16 make this go away. And is it worth doing that?
No. I don't think so. I think you really only need 8. But that aside, obviously it's not going to get smaller. I was fine with the 12. Look, every bye team lost.
Right.
So it wasn't as if there was some massive advantage on it. Now, to be fair, they probably should tweak it. That look, I think every conference champion should get a home game.
Yep.
But doesn't mean I think that they need to get buys.
Right. Well, that's what I was saying. That's exactly what I was saying. Does that get you where you need to be with giving them each a home game, right?
I want people to earn shit. I don't need to see an 8-4 Alabama team, they were 9-3, but you get my point.
So your point is you don't want it watered down to the point that an 8-4 team could win a national championship, because that could conceively happen if you
I
get
don't need the number 6 team in the SEC to make a tournament.
Right. But that's what I'm saying, right? So your concern is that, much like baseball and the wild cards, that a 5th or 6th team in some division or somewhere can go on a late season run and win a national championship. That's the concern, right?
Yeah. It's like the argument in the NCAA about the 69th team.
Right.
Because they're very talented.
Or the 65th team.
Right.
When we started.
I think the first 4 is moronic. But, the reality is, I don't care how talented you are. You have to earn your place.
Sure.
And I don't think a 3-loss team, unless they win the conference championship kind of in a fluky way like Clemson did, where you kind of have to do it that way, they don't belong. Look, SMU lost, Indiana lost. I have no problem with them being in. I don't. Look, Indiana lost to the national finalist. SMU played like crap against Penn State. What can I tell you? But it wasn't like Alabama killed it in the bowl, and they can say they didn't care. But the reality is, you can only base it on what we're seeing. Alabama has 2 losses. They're in. At 3, nobody belongs in a playoff with 3 losses in college football, no matter how talented you are. So, yeah, I thought it was a lot of fun. I thought the semifinals were very good. I thought the Texas-Arizona State game was great. The first round game stunk, which was disappointing. But what it allowed was, it did allow some teams that you never see to get into, to kind of have games that really matter, which I thought was kind of neat. But I don't need to see 6 of them. I don't need to see an 8-4 Ole Miss team or an 8-4 Maryland team. Not that that's ever going to happen again. But of course, Maryland would never make it even at 8-4. But I don't need to see those teams play for a national title. Earn it. Not because you're most talented. Earn it because you won.
Right. No, I agree. Okay, so let's move on to the baseball trifecta, right? So we have 3 new Hall of Famers.
Yep.
None of which are overwhelmingly surprising. However, the amount of votes that one of them got surprised me. So
yeah, I'll be honest. It never really occurred to me that Sabathia was a Hall of Famer. I guess because I'm a small guy. I'm a small Hall of Fame guy. He was very good. And his stats probably are on the border of warranting it. But do I think when I think of all-time great pitchers, is CC Sabathia there? No. Not at all. I was shocked how easily he got in, though. That shocked me. And I assume that's where you're going with, because nobody can complain about Ichiro. And Billy Wagner, I don't know. Would you have put all 3 of those in?
So I definitely would have put. Ichiro's in, right? Ichiro's
give it.
Okay. I struggle with relief pitchers. Okay, I do. Okay, but if you are going to maybe if you're going to say that relief pitchers are in, then he goes in. Okay, so if we're going to say that relief pitchers go in, then I believe Billy Wagner for a time was the best closer in baseball outside of Mariano Rivera. Yes, I agree with that. I totally believe that CC Sabathia was the best pitcher in baseball for at least 2 years.
Really?
Maybe.
I remember 1 year that he was that good.
Well, the 16-1 year, my God, when he went nuts, right? I mean, that 1 year when he gets traded, I mean, he could have won the Cy Young in that league, and he didn't. So, all right. So let's look at this. In 2007, okay, he won the Cy Young. He goes 19-7, okay, 34 starts, 241 innings, okay?
Yep.
In 2008, with 2 teams, he goes 17-10. I'm not even looking at 17-10. I'm looking at his – so he went 6-8 with Minnesota. Oh, sorry, with Cleveland.
And 16-1 with Milwaukee.
11-2 with Milwaukee.
11-2. Oh, okay, that's the split. Okay.
Right, with a 1.65 ERA. He actually led the National League in complete games with 7 and shutouts with 3. I mean, that year, I mean, I love looking at WAR just in general. His WAR for 17 games was 5.
That is wild.
That is, in his Cy Young Award year, he only had 6.3. And he had a 5 in 17 games.
So you're saying from give or take 07 to 11.
07, he was 07 to 11. He was a top 5 pitcher. Yep.
Okay.
So if you look at 07, I'm doing this actually on Baseball Reference because
I'm looking at it also.
Right, but it should give me his combined stats. So 07 to I won't do it. It generally does it. And I don't understand why it's not. Darn it. Generally does it. Nope, it's not doing it. All right. Anyway, he finished in the top 5 of Cy Young 5 out of 7 years. That to me is dominance. That is Hall of Fame numbers. Now, 251 wins and a 61.8 WAR. Okay. He pitched in the playoffs, right? He went 10-7, not great. His ERA is 3.76 overall. That is the highest left-handed ERA in baseball.
Yeah, in the Hall of Fame. Yes,
in the Hall of Fame. Okay. His comparisons, which I love to do, his number 1 comparison is Andy Pettitte. Which the unfortunate part is Andy Pettitte's probably going to get into the Hall of Fame because I don't think Andy Pettitte's a Hall of Famer. Number 2 is
he has steroid issues.
I think he wins on the steroid issues though. I don't think because he came clean. I think he actually gets the benefit of the doubt.
Well, he hasn't gotten it so far.
No, but he jumped to like 35% this year. 40%.
I will be surprised. I think that opens up.
Yeah.
What other player has admitted to steroid use and made it?
Right.
So I don't see it because that opens the door that nobody wants to open.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, and then Billy Wagner, he was his 10th try. He was going to get it. Look, is Wagner as good as Trevor Hoffman? Yes. Is Wagner as good as Mariano? No. But that's like saying this is your inner versus outer Hall of Fame, right?
Yeah.
Your big versus small. Mariano is Babe Ruth to relief pitchers, right? Yeah. We can do that. And Mariano and Billy Wagner is Billy Williams to Babe Ruth. I mean, that's what it is. So if you believe in a really, really small Hall of Fame, Billy Wagner doesn't get in, but neither does Trevor Hoffman. And you might be able to make the case that neither does Raleigh Fingers or Goose Gossage
Or Lee Smith.
Yes. So if you are looking at a small Hall of Fame, Bruce Sutter also doesn't get in because he had more losses than wins.
Right. If you're looking at a small Hall of Fame, the only relievers you're looking at are Eckersley and Rivera, unless you're going to play Hoyt Wilhelm, and that's it's hard for us to play.
Right. So you got two, right? Two. And if you're looking at DHs in the same vein as you're looking at relievers, you have two. You have David Ortiz and Edgar Martinez. And
what about what about Harold Baines?
I was going to say Frank Thomas, actually, because he probably played more DH than he played first base. So, and Frank Thomas, to me, is an inner school Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Just was hitting. So, if you're going to make relief pitching the same way you're going to make kicking in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, it's going to be the best of the best. Billy Wagner was the best of the best for a time, and I'm okay with that. Now,
were you surprised how easily Sabathia got in the first ballot?
Well, that's what I was saying. 82%. My God, he had more than Sandy Koufax. Now, to be fair, and I'm going to say this when I understand that you look at the percentages now and you say, how can he get more than X, right? How can Sabathia get more than Sandy Koufax? Okay. Mm-hmm. There are more voters today than there were back in the 1960s. Okay?
True, but you're going by percentage, so that shouldn't matter.
No, because one vote means much more of a percentage. If you get left off a ballot in the 1960s, it means a lot more than getting left off one ballot in the 2020s. Right? I mean, 1 out of 3 is more percentage than 1 out of 10. So, yeah. So that's number one. Number two, you don't have metrics back in the 1960s. You don't have people convincing other people that he should be in the Hall of Fame. The Hall of Fame probably wasn't even a big thing in the 1960s. It was, I got in. Great. Moving on. And now it's, I got in. Now I can write Hall of Famer on every ball that I ever sign, and I can make a ton of money doing it. Now, do I think every player's like that? No. And kudos to Billy Wagner. Did you see the Hall of Fame video when he was announced, when he was told?
Yeah, he was leaning against it. It looked like he started crying.
He was inconsolable. He could not be he was in tears. And his wife was right next to him, but in tears. Like, it meant so much to him.
I think also, to be fair, he legitimately didn't know if he was getting in.
Agreed.
You know, you've seen certain players over the years. You've seen the videos with the NFL and even with baseball. Like, you saw when Peyton Manning got in the Hall of Fame. Yeah, it was like, nice. And then when you saw, like, Jerry Kramer get in, and the whole place went ballistic.
Right.
So, you know, the closer you are to that threshold, like Sabathia, I guess Sabathia knew he was getting in. I don't know if he knew he was getting in this one or not.
Correct. All right, we got 5 minutes left, so I'll go first because then I have to drop. Okay. Number one, I have two things here. Where's Jimmy? Because he's not on the plane, he's not on the train, he's not in a car. He's still in Miami.
He's really very far. Should we keep going with the Dr. Seuss?
Yeah, and we'll go into it next week as to why trading Jimmy is going to be very, 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 very difficult. It is beyond difficult. And Bradley Beal not wanting to go anywhere makes it that much more. But because I wouldn't want to go to Detroit either, or to Milwaukee.
No, but Miami sounds like fun.
Right. He doesn't want to go to Miami.
No,
so that's number one.
Happy.
Number two, today is the anniversary of my late Aunt Jan, and I will tell you I would not be in journalism without her, if you call this journalism.
I was going to say, is this journalism?
I would not have gone to school for journalism without her. I would not have a master's degree without her. There are people that ask me, do I believe in a heavenly body? And this is not to get religious at all. But I'm going to go there. I don't understand sometimes why people die young, especially ridiculously nice people. There's no explanation, right? There's no explanation why a 13-year-old gets cancer. There's none. And the only explanation you can have is that there is something, some celestial being making some decisions. Because my Aunt Jan was the nicest person I have ever met in the history of the world. She never said a bad thing about anybody. She never wanted anything. She just wanted to be part of your life. And I lost her 24 years ago, and she is incredibly missed. So, and Seth goes to a black screen. So I will say happy heavenly birthday, Aunt Jan. I miss you terribly, and I think about you quite often. Seth on a black screen, so I guess he is piecing out. So for Seth Kamens, who's over there, I'm Sean Palmer over here. He's in the black screen. Seth and Sean Sports. We'll talk to you guys next week.